What's up, everybody? Zachary Make Money Mowing, walking Make Money dog mowing. And today's video, I want to ask you guys what your opinions and thoughts are when a customer tries to haggle with your price or tries to negotiate with your price. Sorry if I'm shaking the phone. So I will first say my experience with it. And every time that I've ever lowered my price for a customer, whether it was a one-time mow or a recurring rate, say if I said $50 every 2 weeks and they said, can you do 45 instead? If I've ever done that, which is very rare, but I have lowered my price in the past just to get the customer landed, I've always regretted it 100,000,000%. And even if the difference is only $5, that $5 hits you right in the heart every time you're doing that yard, every time it's really hot outside, every time it's the last yard of your day and you're tired. That $5 is not really the big deal. It's the principle of you lowering yourself in order to gain the customer. So every time I've ever lowered my price, I've regretted it. And for the times I have lowered my price, I've stuck with those customers for maybe a couple weeks or a couple months, but I've always ultimately dropped them or released them or gave them to another lawn service simply because this is how I deal with it. I would rather just let the customer go and not make the same mistake twice versus continuously working on a bargained rate. So that is just what I would do now. For my recommendation to you, if you don't know what to do in this situation, it's either you tell yourself before you start your business, am I going to let people talk me down or am I not going to? And if you're not going to let people talk you down, then all you do is tell somebody this is the price. And if they say, can you do it for $5 or $10 less? You just tell them, no, that's the price. And then the only psychology I could let you think about for that is if I was getting my haircut by a barber and they gave me a quote to give me a really good haircut, I wouldn't try to haggle with them. I would just either pay it or not, but that's just me. Maybe everybody is different. So I wouldn't want people to haggle with me because I wouldn't haggle with somebody else. Now, if you're buying and selling an item like a mower, or if you're buying and selling, I don't know, like a pack of hot dogs or something, then maybe you could negotiate. But for a service, when it's your labor and time, I'm not crazy about haggling on that. If I was hiring somebody to mow my own yard, I wouldn't haggle with them. I would just let them quote me and I'd take them on, or I wouldn't take them on. Simple as that. The world will keep spinning. So another thing to think about is what if it's a senior citizen, or what if it's a person who just lost their job because of coronavirus, or mainly what if it's an elderly person who is on a fixed income who can't afford it. Now, that's up to you. I've lowered my price for fixed income houses, and regardless if I did or didn't, no matter what the person is, if they're 5 years old or 100 years old, I've still regretted lowering my rate because that's what I felt was fair. I had to add this part into the video because I know there are some of my favorite in the comments that are gonna say, Zach doesn't help out the elderly people. All he cares about is making maximum profits and he doesn't want to bargain himself to make the world a better place. I've been mowing for the past 5 years. I've just recently made my YouTube channel about 4 months ago. I've worked with countless elderly people. I've worked with many seniors who I had to lower the price by almost half just so they could afford my services. And I've been there and I've done that, and I've made my services affordable to the elderly. All I'm trying to tell you in this video is, of course, help out people who are in need, make the world a better place, do what you would want to be done to your own grandpa. But if you're running at peak capacity and you can't afford to lower your rate or to add an additional yard because the senior citizen walked outside and asked you to do their yard on top of the list you already have, if you don't have it inside of you in terms of energy, labor, or time, then you don't have to do it. As much as it would feel good to do it, you don't have to. And I've been in the position where I felt like I had to say yes because I'm thinking, what if that was my grandma? And I've taken on those yards outside of my means, and it's just, even if I made extra money, whether it was discounted or not, money's money, don't get me wrong, but I've realized that I was overreaching in terms of trying to take on these elderly people. Even if it wasn't an elderly person and it was a full price yard, if I'm running at peak capacity, it's peak capacity regardless. So if it was a full price yard, I'm still going to be so much more tired than I should be because I shouldn't have taken on that yard. If I take on a senior citizen's yard on top of my peak capacity, now I'm making even less money and I'm still the same amount of exerted at the end of the day, where I'm pushing myself into overdrive. So what I mean to tell you is, if you have it inside of your schedule to help out an elderly person, then go for it. If it's just one elderly person, then you're making the world a better place. You don't got to help every single senior in the world, but if you just do one, then that's pretty much all you could ask for, just to make the change one person at a time. But if you don't have it inside of you to add the yard to your list, then don't do it. Don't feel like you have to, because I used to feel like I had to, but then I learned that your business is not going to flourish when you have that mindset. Again, help out elderly when you can, but other than that, if it's not an elderly person, I wouldn't bargain my services, what I'm trying to say. But again, if it was your grandma, what would you want to be done if it was a lawn care service talking to your grandma? So that's it. Let me get back to the video. Lowering your price so somebody can afford your services. I don't know. It's kind of a fuzzy area, but at this point in my business, with all the customers that I have, the 50 customers that I usually work with, I have around 40 right now because I've lowered the labor to focus on this channel. But I haven't bargained with a price in years, and it seems to be working fine for me. So let me know what your thoughts are when you lower your price, or if you let somebody talk you down. In the beginning, when you're building your business, I did it more often. I think it's understandable, and I think it could even be necessary, quote unquote, in some ways when you're trying to make as much money as possible and get as much confidence as possible when you're starting out your business. But once you stay in business for a couple years like I have, all I can tell you is you will get past the point where you think about, should I let somebody talk me down? And then the simple answer is you don't, because you value your time, your experience. You're not just a beginner, now you're advanced, and you're confident in your abilities. You have reviews to back you up. You have a long list to schedule. You have a long list of scheduled customers who didn't talk you down on your price that you're going to knock out. So whenever somebody asks you to talk down your price, you have a different view on it when you've been in business versus when you're starting out, and you might have to do it and just sacrifice 10 bucks in order for you to gain an infinite amount of knowledge and experience on your yard. So that's it for this video. Short answer, if you're starting out, sure, why not? If you have to do what you got to do, then go for it. And just realize you're gonna feel it every time you do that yard, whether you let somebody tuck you down 5 bucks or 20 bucks, you're gonna feel it. Even if it's $5, you're gonna feel it every single time, and it's up to you. How I dealt with it was, I used to let people talk me down, but as time went on, those yards that I let talk me down, I ended up releasing them, because I've never increased the price on a yard. I've never told somebody that I underpriced it. That's just how I deal with the confrontation, quote unquote, of it. Some people will increase the price to justify what they feel like it's worth. They'll tell them, actually, we're going to increase it by 5 bucks. I've never done that. I don't want to do that, and I probably won't do that. But that's just where my head's at now. So at this point, I haven't let anybody bargain with me in years. And if an elderly person were to text me right now and say, Zach, I can only afford 40, but you quoted me 50, I don't know how I deal with it. It just depends. I'll let you guys know if that ever happens. But right now, I don't have any elderly people calling me, and I'm fine, and my business is doing good, and my dog is also doing good. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts and your experiences. Let me know about a time when you let somebody talk you down, how you felt about it, and how you ultimately fixed it. So with that, I'm out. It's hot. See you guys. Be safe. Have fun. Love you. Deuces.